My name is Reverend Carlton Mobley, NYC Health and Hospitals, Kings County. This is episode 2 of the meditation series. And now let us meditate on these words. The message that I have for this episode 2, is called Holding On to Hope. It's taken from a biblical text in Colossians. The Apostle Paul wrote in chapter 1, verse 21 to 23. He says these words, "And you that were sometimes alienated and enemies in your mind by wicked works, yet now hath he reconciled in the body of his flesh through death, to present you holy and unblameable and unreprovable in his sight. If ye continue in the faith, grounded and settled, and be not moved away from the hope of the gospel." There's an author by the name of Alexander Pope. He wrote in 1732 a Christian poem. He's from London, and the name of his poem is An Essay on Man. In it, Pope wrote that hope springs eternal in the human breast. Those words quickly became well known. It is our nature to keep on hoping against all odds. Consider the story of a Christian simply known by the name James. James was a runner. Nothing drove him more than the thought of winning his race. He trained day and night, pushing himself to the very limits of his ability. He maintained a strict diet. He made sure he got himself to the very limits of what he could do. He had made sure that he had adequate sleep. James was ready. He was grounded and settled on the idea of finishing what he started. He was determined to be a winner, and his heart was full of hope. When the day of the big race came, he was pumped and excited. James joined the others at the starting line, knelt down and placed his feet securely in the starting blocks. And at the sound of the gun, he was off and running. James was pacing himself for the win. Now, the first lap's challenge was to stay close to the front. In the second lap, he hit his stride and moved ahead. 2 laps to go, he thought. In the third lap, it became clear that he was the front runner. Then came the final lap. On the home stretch, something happened to James. His foot hit a pebble and he twisted his ankle in an awkward way. He crumbled to the ground, and as he fell, he broke his fibula. The track dust swirling around his body. James lay on the ground, withering in pain, and a stranger from the bleachers saw the tragedy and leapt into the field. He lifted James to his good foot, flung his arms over his shoulders, and together they hopped to the finish line. The crowd erupted, cheering and applauding, not for the winner of the race, whose name we will never know, but for James, who, full of hope, finished well. I've found out in my life that it's not the winner of a race that matters. It's only whether or not you finish what you started. And James finished well. But I also found out that oftentimes we can't do it alone. Each one of us have a responsibility to do it together. There is a song by Michael Jackson, and that song, he says these words. He says, "I'm looking at things and I decided to start with the man in the mirror, because the only way we can make a change is that I have to be the change." In this world where we're divided by so many different things in our human life, all every human being wants is to have hope, faith, and love. The Bible says that the greatest of these is love. If we have love, I believe with all of my heart that we can help each other across the finish line. May God bless you. May God keep you, is my prayer.